What's up, guys? Jeff with Top Star Mobile Detailing, Las Vegas. We're going to be going over our van build out. This has been in the works now for about the last 4 months. So we're super excited to be bringing this to you. It's going to be a pretty long video, so we are going to break it up into sections as we go through the van and everything inside the entire build out. So stick around, you guys aren't going to want to miss this one. Okay guys, so we're going to take you through a complete walkthrough of the entire vehicle. We're going to break this down, every little detail that was put into this van. Hopefully we don't miss anything. But we'll start off with basically with these walls here. On our other unit on the trailer, we went diamond plate. On this, we wanted to do something different. This has a really smooth texture. Behind all the walls throughout the van, it's fully insulated, so they put a material back here that's like a sound deadening material as well as insulation, which is great because you don't hear anything. You can have the vacuum going, the compressor going, no noise whatsoever from outside the van. It's super quiet. When you're driving in the cab, you don't get that road noise. When it's like an empty shell, it's really loud. So we had them put all of that sound deadening material behind the walls on these. These are super easy to clean. As we go down to the floor here, on this, I don't know what this is actually called. It's not diamond plating, but it has a texture to it that's really smooth. It's super easy to clean, so you can just wipe it, as opposed to diamond plate. When you're trying to wipe that, it's a little bit like grabby. This has just got a really smooth finish to it. And then as we get into the actual, some of the features of the van, the build out, so we got a table here where we can pull this out and you just slide the table out. So this is really good feature to keep your table secure in here. We use that a lot for like floor mats and stuff. Put this back in, there we go. And then that just locks it into place so that won't come out.
So that's custom welded?
That's all custom made. Everything you see in here, all the frames, everything all custom made. Then we got up here, we got our little glove box, easy access. We're constantly using gloves throughout the day, so we wanted that right up front where we can just grab these, throw them on. And then as we get inside here, we've got our mount for our ego blower here. Just pops on and off. We use that a lot throughout the day for drying cars. They put on this cool little rack here where you can put that on. Ladder fits perfectly right behind here. And then we had all of these custom cabinets done. All of the things that you see for averages, the enemy like here, or we have down here. These were all custom cut, laser cut. Hector put this together for us. We said we wanted our logos and emblems throughout the build out. So he was able to get this done with our logo colors on here. Really cool feature. And then this, pop that up there. We got our mighty extractor down here, some backup vacuum hoses, but that fits everything that we need for the extractor. We got our ozone machine here. These are just our plate covers that we use for details when we want to cover up the client's plate. You know, you don't want to show their personal information, so we keep that on there. Slide that over, and then that just locks.
That just clicks in place with the lock?
That just clicks in and locks there.
Awesome.
And then as we move in a little further, we have another cabinet down here where this just pops open. And behind these towels, we have a bin with our Wagner steamer, all the attachments and hoses down here. We have all these towels jammed in here right now because that keeps everything from sliding around. Like I said, this material is very slippery. we're just waiting on, we have some rubber mats that are gonna come in for all the top surfaces, like up top here, where that will keep things from sliding around. Because the way it is right now, we kind of just have these bins packed in here nice and tight to where they're not gonna move. But the surfaces of this are the same as this. So the way it is right now without the non-slip mats, every time you corner or accelerate or hit the brakes, everything kind of wants to slide around. So these are just kind of fitted in here temporarily for now. Up top here, we got our bin with our drill brushes for carpet cleaning. And then we have some assorted bins here with like, I don't know what's in there, tokens and just random accessories. And then we have another bin here for backup battery. There's a power cord back here with multiple outlets for charging, so we can charge our batteries here, drill batteries, charge our phones here. We've got our polisher back here for now. And then as we move down to the EcoFlow system here, so this is something that we really wanted to do for this build out. We're so sick of dealing with the generator noise and just the gas and, you know, spilled gas and fumes and all of that. So we wanted to go electric on this one. This is the most powerful EcoFlow that you can get on the market right now. It's the EcoFlow Ultra. And this has enough power to power all of our equipment at the same time. We have no issues. On the trailer, one thing we were running into a lot with Quorum and I working, or multiple people working out of the same unit, when you're running multiple pieces of equipment, it will trip the generator. So we were constantly having to deal with the generator tripping and shut it down. This has enough power to power a whole house for a couple of days. So we don't run into that issue. You can see right now it's at 100%. So this is powered by solar panels that line the whole roof of the van. So that's constantly feeding in, it's harnessing the power from the sun. The solar energy is going into the unit and it refills at a rate. I don't know what the exact rate is. It kind of fluctuates depending on how strong the sun is, if there's clouds and stuff like that. But we just did a car a little while ago. It's already recharged back to 100%. So a really cool feature about having this throughout the day is it just keeps recharging and recharging. You're not constantly having to fill up the generator with gas and stuff like that. Like I said, it's also super quiet, which is great because we're going to be filming a lot out of this van and we don't have that noise in the background. So as we continue on in here, we got our compressor right here. This thing's actually super quiet. When it's full, it's got enough air to do a whole car for blowout using the Tornador. Again, we can run this thing at the same time as the vacuum or the pressure washer, and it doesn't trip the power station.
Or all three, right?
Or all three. I haven't actually run all three yet because it was just me yesterday and then we didn't need it today, but I'm pretty sure it will run all three. You know, it has the power to do it. And then as we move into the corner here, we have the new Kronzel unit. We had this in our trailer, the older one, which was great. You know, that got us through 2.5 years, no issues whatsoever. You know, if you change the oil and you do the maintenance on it, they're great pressure washers. Plenty of power to get the job done. They're super reliable. Never had any issues with this. This one has even more output than the other one. We've already noticed a difference just over the last couple days when we're using this, that it does have significantly more pressure than the previous unit. I don't know what the model number is on this. Do you?
I think it's just the newest one that's out.
Yeah, let's go with that. The newest one that it's out. We don't really get caught up in all those like figures and numbers.
No.
Not really important to us.
Do you know how much that one was? Or right around, I think maybe 1,400
ish. Yeah, I don't know because I got everything as a package, so you know I didn't really go through and itemize everything on it. But you know, like I said, we don't really get too caught up in the numbers, what the wattage is and all this stuff. That just doesn't matter to me.
Jeff, a lot of people put their Kronzels or pressure washers in the back of the van. Why did we choose to put it at the top?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like in our trailer, for example, we had it in the back as well. I wanted everything inside here just so it's like protected, it's nice and clean, it's not as noisy in here because it's all insulated inside the van. And we wanted a really clean look to the back too, so we're gonna show you that when we get around to the back of the van. So one of the other reasons that we put this in here is it doesn't need to be gravity fed too. The pump on this system is really strong, so it's up higher than the water tank and it still pulls through without having to have an additional pump in the system. You know, a lot of pressure washers either have to be gravity fed, it has to be lower than your tank, or you have to have a separate pump system in order to get the water through the unit. So not an issue with this one. And then I'm gonna just kind of readjust here, spin around. We got a low roof fan, so,
Yeah.
so there's not a lot of room for like standing up in here and stuff, but the reality is you're not hanging out in the van very often anyway. You're just coming in here to do what you got to do. We got our RV pole back here that we're used for, you know, campers, RVs, sprinters that are really tall. So it fits perfectly here. Again, we have a flat surface up here where we're gonna put some more bins up in this area, but we need the rubber mats to stop it from sliding around. The fill spot is right here for the tank, so we can fill up here.
Okay.
And then if you can see this here,
Oh yeah.
Hector actually had this done for us for the tank, where they laser cut into all the diamond plate. They cut in our logo. So this is just a really cool feature. Lights inside the tank, so we'll show you that later on when it gets darker. We can put the lights on, you kind of see how that looks too, but really cool feature just to kind of, you know, make it unique, dress it up a little bit. And then as we move over here, I don't know if you can kind of get in here, but we got our vacuum aid system. We ran this on the trailer as well too. Great vacuum aid system. It has tons of suction. Through a 50-foot hose, it still pulls just as strong as like a rigid would, you know, with the little short hose. So these are great vacuums. They're dry vacs, so you can't use them for, you know, any type of moisture or water or anything like that. You don't want to get any water in these systems, or, you know, it can mess up the motor. All right, I'm getting a little cramped up from sitting in here, so we're gonna step back out. One more thing before we get out. We have interior custom lighting throughout the van. So we got light strips here, lights in the tank, lights in back, and these are all controlled by, there's a switch on the wall. We also have a little remote that can change the color cycles through the lighting too. So really cool feature. That being said, we're gonna step out of the van because I'm like getting locked up back here, and we'll go on to the next section.
Jeff, don't forget the most important part of the build, what's never been done. Custom, one of a kind. What's that?
Oh yeah. I'm glad you pointed that out, Quorum. So my director of operations actually, as a little surprise to me, worked this out with Hector, where they had this special unit installed on a little slide out here for the buckets. You got our Yeti buckets for the mitts, the wheel brushes here, and then we have our Yeti cooler for our drinks. Keep everything nice and cold inside. So really cool feature. You know, in the trailer we were just kind of throwing a cooler in there, and we'd have the buckets on the floor, and they'd constantly be moving around and sliding around. So
and everything wet.
Everything, yeah, wet, or, you know, just, it was just a mess in there. So we wanted it to be like really neat and organized. So Quorum actually got with Hector, and they put this cool little surprise in there for me. I love it. It's actually, like Quorum said, I haven't seen another van that has anything like this in there, you know. So cool feature.
I think somebody's.
Oh.
I noticed your setup here, guys. Do you do details pretty much?
Yeah.
I've been looking for a detailer.
Okay, yeah, sweet car, man. This looks like it's getting about due. Looks like you got some brake dust buildup on the wheels here.
I can't find anyone that's reliable that actually shows up. So
Yeah.
Reliable. I'm in a business card.
We get that a lot too, man. A lot of our clients say the same thing. Like they call and they don't show up, or they don't answer their phone. So yeah, for sure, man. Let me grab you a card. Hang on one sec.
Thank you so much. What's your name?
My name's Jeff.
Eric, good to
yeah,
meet you,
I'm
man.
the owner, and this is my partner, Quorum.
Quorum, nice
to meet you.
yeah,
What's up,
we're
man?
just doing some filming for our business, and, you know, just shooting a little bit.
Timing,
So
good timing.
yeah, so here you go, man.
Thank
Here's
you
the
so
card.
much. I appreciate that. I'll get in touch with you and we'll get something set up right away.
Sounds good, man.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Good to meet you,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you. So Jeff, man, that was pretty cool. Does that happen often for us?
I mean, it does. You know, it's one of the benefits about having setups like this, the trailer like this, where it's fully logoed out with your business information. People notice it, right? And they pull up and they stop. It gets their attention. We get asked for cards several times throughout the day while we're on the job. So, you know, this all comes back to branding and marketing again. You know, having these type of setups on the road, it brings you clients. People see that setup and they realize how professional you are. And it attracts those high-end clients, people that drive high-end BMWs, things like that, nice cars. So those are the clients that you want to pull when you're out there working. So it's good to have business cards on you as well. So keep cards on you so you can hand them out to people. All right, so we're in here in the interior of the cab. This is going to be a little shorter segment. There's not a whole lot to cover in here. One of the cool features that they put in was this frame here with an insulated wall to the back. Custom plaque on here again, where this was all laser cut out with our logo. But this is really nice as far as keeping the noise down, the sound down. It's also great for air conditioning and stuff, right? You're only cooling this small little space, or in the winter heating it. Whereas if this is open, all of that just blows through the back and it never really cools down on here. Before we had that wall installed, it was super noisy. You could hear like everything in the back. So really good idea to have that wall, that divider in there. As we come around to just the driver's area, there's a little backup camera on here. This isn't the greatest screen or anything, but it does the job for when stuff's behind you. We had this mount installed for your navigation, so you can just click that in. That's by TacForm. Really cool for that. And again, we started off with a new van with, this only had 20 miles on it, I think. It's a 2024. It was brand new, but we wanted to go brand new with the van because if you're gonna spend this kind of money into a setup, you don't wanna put that into something that already has high miles on it, right? You don't wanna build out a van that has almost 100,000 miles or something and you're investing all this money into the equipment. And then that's gonna, over time, it's gonna start to have maintenance issues. You're gonna have problems with the van. So we're looking at this from a long-term perspective, you know, where we're hoping to get a good solid 10 years out of this van with all the equipment and everything inside. There's a panel of auxiliary switches over here that control the light bars for up top. So there's one for the right side, one for the left, and then one for the back as well. So if we're detailing at night, you know, Quorum really likes working in the dark, so sometimes, you know, we do have to use some lights out there just so we can see what we're doing.
All right, man, so we moved on to the exterior. What's the story with the wrap?
Yeah, so the wrap that you're looking at here, this is actually the second wrap that's been on the van. Originally, we had the wrap done at a place called Artcore Printing here in Las Vegas, and it came out like this grayish green color. It just wasn't the right shade. It was supposed to be black, just like what you see here. So we tore that wrap off, and then we had it done at a place called Retro Spec Printing over in California. That's the wrap that you see here. This is exactly how it was supposed to come out. Black, just like the trailer. I don't know if you can pan over and show the two of them, but it has to be consistent with the brand. And we tried to explain this to the people at Artcore. Like, they were like, oh no, it still looks great. You know, and we're like, yeah, but it's gray. Like, our brand is not gray, it's black, right? So just those small details like that is really important to us, you know, so we did have that corrected. So shout out to the guys over at Retro Spec for making it look right. As we go through the exterior of the vehicle, we also had a cool little feature that we had Hector put on here, was this little charge port that you see. That is actually for the EcoFlow Ultra. It's directly on the other side of this. So if for some reason, you know, we get rain or it's overcast, there's just not a lot of sun, where the solar panels are not producing enough power to recharge the unit, we have that as a backup, right? So we can always just plug into an extension cord from the house, and that will charge the system up in just a couple hours and we'll be good to go. All right, so now that we covered the inside, the cab, and some of the exterior, we're gonna move on to the back portion of the van. See what we got going on back here. As we move into the back of the van, one of the things we did differently on this one, we decided to put all the reels down on the bottom here. So we kind of reversed it, where we have a workstation up top, everything's at like chest height, whereas it was before in the trailer setup, everything was down here and you were constantly having to bend over to get down here and use that as like a workspace. So we wanted this to be like a little bit different. We got our vacuum hose here, 50-foot hose reel, 50-foot pressure washer, 50-foot compressor aerial, and then our electric. This is for the fill up the buckets, our hose here, and then they put in a cool little bracket for that. Really cool feature that we had them do on this for us was we had a custom switch put on here for the console. So all you have to do on this is just on or off, rather than having to go inside, crawl in the corner and hit the switch on that. This makes it super convenient. And then on the opposite side, we had one installed for the vacuum. So this switch, just click that, and that turns the vacuum on as well. The EcoFlow is off right now, so it's not working, but super convenient having the switches there. We had a little thing put in the corner here for our little tire shine brush, so that doesn't get all over the place. Convenient. And then as we move up top, we've got our brush racks here in the corner, our little funnel thing to fill up all our products. Do you want to talk about this, Quorum? Because this was your idea here.
Yeah, so with these are all dilutable products. So I just thought it would be a lot easier to have them in little pumps. That way, like with the foam cannon, you just set it right here. Just pump as much as you need. Active foam, gentle snow foam. This is MS, which is really strong, so it's dilutable. We have Green Star and then Polestar for like interior leather and stuff like that. I just thought it would be a good idea to have this convenient right here. The only drawback I see so far is that these drip down onto the metal. You can already see it's a little like stained already, so we just have to be conscientious and wipe these. But I really like the setup. Shout out to Jonathan for helping me get that set up.
Thanks, Jonathan. So then as we move over, another custom feature that they did, I believe this is the only one that you're gonna see out there. This is like a one-of-a-kind setup where we have a slide out for all of our products, our bottles. So we have everything that we use for our tires in this row here, interior products, and then some miscellaneous products on the back. But we wanted to keep this really just kind of simple, clean. We didn't want all the racks on the doors and everything like you usually see in most setups. One of the issues that you run into out here in Vegas as a detailer is when you're having all the racks and the bottles on your doors, in the summertime, it gets so hot that the bottles will actually heat up and start squirting the product out of the bottles. It'll drip all down the doors. This might not be an issue in some areas, but out here it's 110 to 115 degrees. We were running into that a lot where the stuff was just bleeding out all over the place. So we wanted a nice clean look for the doors. We got our towel racks up here, a little thing for the clay mitt, and then there's a towel rack on the opposite door as well, nice and clean. You know, at some time we might add something to the doors, not really sure yet, but for now we just wanted it like a nice clean look to that. But this feature's really cool, so shout out to my guy Hector over at H2O and the team there for putting this together. This is a really cool feature. Don't think you've probably seen that on any other vans out there. And then
it's really cool. We love it.
Yes, awesome. And then as we move into the corner here, you have a little container for all our foam cannons and soaps and miscellaneous products. They have the mounts on here for the pressure washer nozzles and equipment. There's another one up here for like a gun. And then there's a couple magnetic hooks here. These just stick on. Right now we're just using that to hang our mitt on a stick because it has a handle. And that just goes down here so the water just falls to the ground. Another towel rack here. And then we have
I thought that was a pull-up rack for you.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, and I'll get in there and get in a couple sets. No, I don't think that'll hold me, but we got a custom cabinet up here. Again, all laser cut out with our logo, so it kind of makes it unique. Pop this up, and then we got our towels in here, our microfibers, some drying towels, just different assorted towels. And again, we've only had the van now for 2 days, right? So we'll probably change a couple things, maybe a few different things here and there, but we're just kind of getting things set up and, you know, figuring out where we want to keep everything in here. The thing I will say is, when I drove back from H2O, I got back really late at night. I had a super early morning detail, and I didn't have any of the products or anything in the actual van yet. It was still all in the trailer. So I had to get up really early, but I couldn't wait to use the van, right? So I was like, man, I just want to use the van. But I didn't have time to fully stock everything out the way that I wanted. So I just grabbed a handful of things, like just basic core essentials, an interior cleaner, something for the wheels, glass cleaner. And I really just went to detail with like 4 different products or so, right? So it's just a reminder to me that you don't really need like a ton of things to get the job done. You can get by with just the bare essentials. While it's nice to have all of this stuff, you can do the job with just a few core things in your tool belt. So if you're just getting started, you know, start with what you got and then work your way up from there.
Another thing I wanted to mention about this is why we put the products in the van in the shade, is because a lot of these aerosol cans that we use, like glass cleaner and tire shine, back to black, trim restorer, these cans, when they're sitting on the trailer door open, they get really hot and the seals actually pop. So then it sprays out really fast and it sucks. Me and Jeff hate it. So
yeah, it's definitely an issue. And another one of the reasons why we put this towel rack here too is we can put towels here and it shades all of this in. So it's like a curtain, blocks out the sun, and in the summertime it'll keep it a lot cooler. So you know, just something that we're experimenting with out here. And it's going to vary from environment to environment where you're at. Yours might differ. Another thing too, there's a switch here for the lights. So this has recessed lighting under here. You can see the little lights that are installed under there, as well as there's light bars underneath down here. We'll add some B-roll into the video later of it at nighttime, where you'll be able to see all the lights and how that works both inside and out here as well. Kind of hard to see during the daytime, so we'll throw that in when it gets dark after our details later.
So Jeff, man, why didn't we put like an espresso machine and a toilet in here?
Yeah, it's funny, man. And we were actually had somebody that said, oh, are you going to put a TV in there or an espresso machine? Like I saw a van with that. And, you know, it just doesn't really make sense for us. Like this is designed as a mobile shop, right? And it's designed to be as efficient and productive as possible. So to have things like an espresso machine or TV, it just wouldn't make sense for us. We're not hanging around like drinking espressos, watching TV and stuff. You know, we're super busy and we got a job to do, and we needed a unit that can handle the kind of volume that we're doing on a daily, weekly basis. So this thing is set up as a workhorse and it's set up for volume. So everything that you see here, while it looks aesthetic, right? Everything is designed aesthetically. It's also designed for efficiency and to be user-friendly, to where everything's easy to access. It's designed for speed and productivity. So a lot of thought went into the build out on this, both on our end and with H2O, and just kind of coordinating everything. So shout out to the team over at H2O for kind of taking our vision, our blueprint, and, you know, making that a reality and building it all out for us. Well, it did take some time, right?
Yeah.
We're looking at right around 4 months for the entire build out, you know. Originally we thought it would be a little bit shorter than that. I probably had, you know, a little unrealistic expectations, being that when we had the trailer built out, I took that to them early in the morning and had it built out in the same day and left that night with everything that I needed inside the trailer. And you know, I probably did 4 or 5 revisions over the course of 2 years, because it's not till like you're actually out in the field and you're using the equipment do you realize like, oh, maybe I should have put this there, or I should have did this, or I should have made this hose a little longer, or just those little small tweaks that you can't really get a feel for until you're out detailing and on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis, and then you start to see these little slight improvements that you can make to the setups just to kind of fine-tune it. But I think we've really got that dialed in, you know, over the course of working out of the trailer. And now on this, there's really not too much to really be adjusted. We might have a few minor adjustments here and there, but if you're thinking about building out a setup, one of the things you want to have in mind is your expectations as far as budget goes, and then timeline goes as well, right? So really plan for that going into the situation. You know, I didn't really realize it was going to take as long to build this out as it did. We were planning on having it for the summer and to be able to handle the summer rush, using multiple employees out of the van as well, or out of both units. But that being said, you know, you can't rush perfection either. So it takes time to build a setup like this. It's not an easy build where you just slide in a frame with, you know, a water tank and it's good to go. There was a ton of custom fabrication for cut and stuff like this, and just doing all those little things that we wanted to make this van special and unique, right? So you got to have some patience. You know, at times I definitely lost mine along the way, you know, and me and Hector had got into it a couple times, but you know, they handled it like real professionals, and I give Hector and his dad credit for putting up with me at times. You know, I could be like, where's my van? Is it ready yet? You know, and just going crazy because I really wanted to get it on the road and stuff. But, you know, those guys were professional about it. And the things that were delayed and stuff, they took accountability for those things, and, you know, and they made it right in the end. So we got what we wanted out of it, which is, you know, a dream build van. And, you know, we've got a really good relationship with them over at H2O, a great working relationship and a friendship with those guys now too. And if we do a build out in the future, we'll probably be using them again too. So shout out to the guys over at H2O for putting this all together.
So we get a lot of questions, detailers asking us whether they should get a trailer, a van, or a truck. Now that you have a van and a trailer, which one would you say is better? Which one would you like working out of more?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they both have their pros and cons. And again, a lot of it comes down to budget too, right? Like to build out a trailer like the one you see behind you, if you want to pan around, just show up. Sure, most people have seen the trailer by now, but you know, to build out a trailer like this, you can do a complete build out with a brand new trailer for less than 20K, right? I think all in on that brand new trailer with the wrap, with all the equipment needed inside, it was just right under 20K. To build out a setup like this, you're gonna need a much higher budget than that. You know, just the van itself as an empty shell was, I think, 52. And then for everything that you see inside, the build out was another 40K on that, right? So that's at 92, and then the wrap was like another 4, you know, 96. So you're looking at almost 100K build out to build this van as you see it as it stands here, versus like 20K on a trailer like that, you know? So again, it comes down to like your budget. That trailer has been great to me, you know, and it's a workhorse. It gets the job done, you know, and we've only been using this now for a couple days. So far I like the van better, obviously. You know, it's definitely nice just being able to jump in, drive, pull in, close the doors, lock it, yeah, versus the trailer. Like you guys can see on this, like when I was using this, every day that I got home, I have to disconnect the car, put the car in the garage, put the car in the charger, lock this so no one can hook up to it, throw 2 different cable locks on here with steel braided cable, lock both doors, put a wheel lock on here as well, right? So There's a lot of time involved with this for security purposes so that no one just pulls up and steals your trailer in the middle of the night, you know. That adds an extra 15, 20 minutes a day of connecting, disconnecting, and it's kind of a pain in the ass too when it comes to that. Whereas the van, you know, like I said, you just park it, lock it, and
just jump in and
go inside. Yeah, so it is a little bit easier. You know, they both, like I said, they both have their pros and cons, and it depends on, you know, where you're starting off and your budget goes on that.
So Jeff, another thing that was really annoying with the trailer is, I mean, we'd pretty much have to fill up the water tank like every 2 to 3 details. What did we do in this one?
Yeah, so we changed, in the trailer we had a 100-gallon water tank. In this one we upsized to 140. And you know, it depends on your business and the volume that you're doing. If you're doing a couple of cars a day, that'd be fine. 100 gallons is gonna work out okay. Depending on the vehicle sizes that you're doing, if we're doing like maintenance cars, we could probably get between 4 to 6, but if you're doing Jeeps and trucks that have dirt and mud, or Sprinter vans and RVs, things that require a lot more water, we were having to fill up multiple times a day out of the trailer. You know, whereas this, I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to get through like a whole day of detailing on 140 gallons. If we need to, we only have to fill up once. You know, there were days with the trailer where we filled up twice, sometimes 3 times, depending on how many vehicles and how bad they were, how big they were. So yeah, it's definitely nice having that 140. Not to say that you're going to use it all the time, but just the fact that you have it. Okay guys, so we covered pretty much everything inside the van. I don't know, maybe there's a couple things we missed, but I can't think of anything right now. We do want to show you how the lighting works on the bars, as well as all the interior lighting. So we're going to cut to that segment now where we can show you how all the lighting works in the van.
All right, Jeff, man, that about wraps up the van build. What do you have to say?
Yeah, so that pretty much concludes everything inside the van that we wanted to show you. You know, we're super excited to share this with you. We're going to be filming out of this van from now on, so you're going to see it be in use on a lot of our future videos and details. So stick around. If you guys are getting value out of this content, please do us a favor. Drop us a like, drop us a sub. It helps us keep providing free content for you guys out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right,
Cheers.
see you guys.